Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe that we can communicate with spirits from the other side? Or is it all just in our heads? Ouija boards, crystal balls, pendulums, and EVP. Are we fooling ourselves? Or is it more foolish to believe only in what we can see and measure? How do you explain the unexplainable? And what makes the wonders of science any less mystical than the supernatural? I'm DreyOfTheDead, and it's time to feed your head. In 1972, members of the Toronto Society for Psychical Research conducted an experiment like no other. Their focus was aimed at the psychokinetic phenomena presented during seances. They wondered if seances could manifest a spirit in full light or just in the dark. Does a psychic have to be present? Can the phenomena be captured on film, and what causes it? They decided that the best way to find answers was to recreate spiritualist seances in a controlled environment, but with a few key differences. None of the participants could have psychic powers, and the entity they were looking to manifest would be entirely fictional. Dr. George Owen theorized that ghosts were merely hallucinations created by those who believed in them. Under his guidance, an experimental group was made up of 8 members of the TSPR. Al, a self-employed heating engineer with an interest in photography. Lorne, an industrial engineer with a background in art and ancient history. Andy, Lorne's wife, an artist who shared his interest in astronomy. Bernice, a well-read accountant who studied philosophy. Dorothy, a housewife with a background in bookkeeping and accounting. Sydney, sociology student, salesperson, and youngest member of the group. Sue, a former nurse and chairman of the Canadian chapter of Mensa, and Iris, Dr. Owen's wife, and director of the New Horizons Research Foundation. Her career also included nursing, social work, and leadership. Psychiatrist Dr. Joel Witten was also present as an observer. The group's first step in invoking a fictional ghost was to create the entity. They decided that his name would be Philip Aylesford, and with the help of the group, Sue created his backstory. Philip was an aristocratic Englishman living in the mid-1600s. He was a Catholic man in support of the king, married to a beautiful but frigid woman named Dorothea. While riding his horse, he came upon an enchanting raven-haired Romani girl named Margot, and the two fell in love. Philip brought her back to live secretly in the gatehouse of his estate, and for a time they maintained their affair. But Dorothea inevitably found out and accused Margot of stealing her husband through witchcraft. Afraid of tarnishing his reputation and losing his property, the cowardly Philip did not come to Margot's defense. Margot was subsequently tried and burned at the stake. Stricken with remorse for his silence, Philip fell into a state of despair and eventually threw himself from the walls of his castle. After memorizing this story, the group visualized Philip and reached a consensus on his personality and physical appearance. Andy then drew a portrait of Philip to match this description. Having completed their creation, the group set off to manifest Philip. They met weekly and sat in a circle under colored lights or candlelight. Sometimes they did so around a table with his picture in the center, and other times around aluminum foil on cardboard in hopes he would materialize on it. For the first few months, the group kept a skeptical eye on each other to prevent any possibility of a hoax. Their meditations grew longer and longer, and they discussed what they'd felt after each one. Some claimed to sense a presence in the room, but even after a year, no significant evidence had come to light. Seeking answers, Iris delved into the writings of other psychic researchers. She found that 19th century seances were much more candid and relaxed. Many times, the participants sang songs, cracked jokes, and carried on conversations. So the group decided to loosen up, and to their surprise, something began to make contact. About 4 sessions into this new practice, the group felt the table start to vibrate. Just the slightest hum grew to an audible tremble. Soon, the table began to slide across the room, clear to everyone that no one was pushing it. A few sessions later, Dorothy asked, "I wonder if Philip is doing this," which was met with a loud knock in response. From this point on, it seemed Philip was present at each sitting. A confirmation system was established. 1 knock for yes, and 2 for no. The group asked him endless questions about his story, which for the most part seemed to match what they'd created. Philip expanded on this story, adding details to his origin. His personality came through in the enthusiasm or hesitance of his knocks as he expressed his preferences and opinions, and in time, the group began to treat him as just another member.
Have you brought Dorothea with you?
Have you seen Dorothea lately?
No.
No. Would you like to see Dorothea lately?
No.
No.
Didn't you love Dorothea in your time?
No. That was too...
A bit louder, Philip,
Loud,
please.
Yes, we need them louder.
Philip, come on, do it loud.
Good and loud.
Not
Good
much
and loud.
louder. Philip, did you like Dorothea?
That's
good. Did you love Margot?
Margot.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Say it again. Did you love Margot? Good.
But Philip's limitations also became clear. Any historically inaccurate answers could be traced to a prior incorrect statement from a member. But his physical abilities were astounding. The group came to notice that the table would feel different whenever Philip was around. Electric almost, pulsing with life. Occasionally, a mist would form in the center of the table. Each session began with members greeting Philip while he knocked on the table under each of their hands.
Hello, Philip. Are you there?
Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Philip. Hi, Philip. I heard you bought some more new horses.
Come on. Speak up.
He would even knock along to songs the group sang to him or music they would play.
They have proved that this force is latent in most ordinary human beings.
Despite the thick carpeting, the table swayed and slid with ease, sometimes tipping onto 2 legs or even dancing on one. Astonishingly, it would slide toward anyone new entering the room, revolve in a waltzing movement, or even chase people, all while the group attempted to keep their hands placed atop. Eventually, it began to levitate entirely. But the table was not the only thing Philip could control. If the group asked him to dim the lights, he would do so. If they asked him to restore them, he would oblige. After feeling a cool breeze blow across the group, they asked if he could control it at will. To everyone's surprise, he could, and did whenever they would ask. The group found that the phenomena would occur with as few as 4 members present. In the summer of 1974, the group took a break from its weekly meetings. During that time, some of the members experienced poltergeist activity in their own home. At the height of the experiment, the group began to gain the attention of the media. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation filmed an hour-long documentary called Philip the Imaginary Ghost. Toronto station City TV also aired an episode of World of the Unexplained which focused on the experiment. Philip was not camera shy and readily tilted and levitated tables before production crews.
Don't tip it, Philip.
Mind the microphone.
Right on your... On
Up on your
Come on, back the other way. Come on.
For 1 bottle of beer.
Louder than that.
Come on, louder, Philip.
Louder for 2.
Come on, Philip.
Philip, if you want a bottle of beer, rap loudly.
That is...
Louder, Philip.
Come on, Philip, louder. Here comes the microphone.
It has to be louder, Alan won't buy it.
Come on, Philip.
Come on.
What? I didn't hear
Right under the microphone, Philip.
Right here, Phil.
Yeah,
Right here.
keep your
Right
hands
here.
up.
No, he's doing it over
Come
in
on,
that corner.
come on,
Doing it
Philip,
in that
louder
corner. Come
and
on,
louder.
Philip. Louder.
That's better. Oh, good for you, Philip. You
All right.
have your bottle of beer.
Philip's knocks were even recorded into sound charts by Dr. Alan Gauld, and showed a different acoustic quality than knocks created by living humans. In one case, a group of physicists and psychologists invited the group to Cleveland for a demonstration, and found that the motions of the table were quite powerful. One physicist even sat on the table during a session, and was violently thrown off. The nature of the force was never determined. A moment of interest came when Sid jokingly told Philip that if he didn't answer, the group would send him away. All phenomena stopped, and the group had to work twice as hard to bring it back in the next session. This seemed to confirm that an entity created by thought could also be destroyed by one. It assured the group that if Philip ever became dangerous, he could easily be disarmed. Though the group was never able to fully materialize the spirit of Philip, they felt they'd achieved their goal of proving that psychokinetic energy could be produced under full light, and without the presence of a medium. The group did not go as far as to claim that all apparitions come from the subconscious mind, nor that they rely on the living for their existence. They did, however, feel that Philip's personality was a composite of their own, since they created him. Iris went on to publish an official account in her 1976 book, Conjuring Up Philip. She hypothesized that ghosts draw their energy from the combined focus of a group, citing that when one of the members was sick, the phenomena would manifest more weakly. The experiment was so successful that the Toronto organization decided to recreate it with an entirely new group of people and fictional ghost. After just 5 weeks, they made contact with Lilith, a French-Canadian spy. Other similar experiments followed with fictional spirits such as Sebastian, the medieval alchemist, and Axel, the man from the future, all of them producing the same phenomena seen with Philip. One group in Australia tried their hand at the experiment with a fictional 14-year-old girl named Skippy, who communicated with them through knocks and scratches. In her book, Iris asserts that any group of people can acquire the ability to generate phenomena. In the end, the Philip experiment seemed to have a therapeutic effect on its participants. The group had become a family, with many feeling they'd gained self-confidence from being a part of it. They left feeling more aware of others and the world at large. So, what are we to conclude from this? Well, some speculate that what the group experienced was merely a result of their own energies or their unconscious, or perhaps wild hallucinations. But what of the footage or the camera crews who witnessed it firsthand? Well, others believe that the group somehow subconsciously tapped into the real-life details of a spirit of the past, or perhaps an opportunistic spirit simply posed as Philip. It seems that the more we learn, the more questions arise. But perhaps it's safe to say that the veil is much thinner than we think. If you enjoyed this strange but true tale, be sure to subscribe and check out previous episodes. We put out new videos every other Friday. If you enjoy blooper reels and behind-the-scenes footage, you might want to consider joining my Patreon. These are just some of the patrons who make these videos possible. As always, thank you so much for watching. Be well and stay strange.